So we've heard you talk a little bit about, consciously creating your love bubble, and you sort of touched a little bit about that in your morning ritual, which sounds ace. Can you talk to us a little bit more about what that conscious love bubble is?
Yeah, cool. So I originally first came across this. It was in Stan Tatkin. He talks about the psychobiology of being in love and what creates emotional security within a couple, because what breaks down in a relationship first is the emotional security, then comes all the crap, and then eventually you just see your partner as a threat. So even if they haven't done anything, simply their breathing can all kinds of crazy shit, right? So one of the things that
crazy shit.
And I think sometimes people have experienced that, even if it's not with a loved one. It's like a housemate who's just like, their presence just is too much.
That tone of yours?
Yeah, that breathing.
So this is where I first came across it. Now, at the time, this is when we first met, and I was telling her, I was like, right, so we're going to have this couple bubble and it's going to be amazing. It's so great when you fall in love with somebody else into growth and personal development, because they say yes to everything. Anyway, so not really understanding, I guess, the depth of what that meant at the time. But essentially what it is understanding your partner on such a deep emotional level that you know what builds them up and you know what knocks them down. And you commit to never doing the things that knock them down, which is a lot harder than it sounds, particularly when they piss you off. And really commit to learning their owner's manual, so that when they're, regardless of how it is that they communicate what's going on for them, you actually read between the lines to see it for what it is, so that you can be there with love and not met with anger. Now, that is so much easier to practice in theory than it is in reality. Yeah. And this has been the biggest challenge that we have had, in terms of once that the love and the excitement and, everything about the, all the love drugs, when the love drugs start to wear off and you're left with each other, how do you navigate that? Because the more time you spend with somebody and the more that you're with them, the more your unconscious minds blend. And that has been fun for us. And it has been, honestly, it's been the most rewarding journey and fulfilling journey, and the most epic thing that I've ever committed to.
You want to grow? You want to become your best version? Get in a conscious relationship. It's like on crack. Yeah. I might just add one thing to that with consciously creating your relationship, and that is, I think it's kind of like, oh, we got engaged. Oh, we're getting married. And if we're not consciously defining what marriage means to us and creating our own rules around that, we fall into the paradigm and the rules and the belief systems of what our prior generation have created around that. And so then we fall unconsciously into the, we only have sex once a month now, that's normal. And until consciously creating that, so create your engagement bubble, create and define your what marriage means to you bubble. No different to how I get my clients to define what their true wealth identity is. Otherwise, you're going to be living the wealth identity of your mum and dad's. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, we Nathan and I got married in 2012 and 23 years old, and I guess had the opportunity to do that while we were still really young. And it was like, oh my gosh, why would you want to get married and settle down? And it was like, well, that's not what that means for us. Us getting married didn't mean settling down. It meant going on these crazy adventures with my person. And what's really better than that, than living the life that you're designing with conscious choice with that person.